So can everybody see me in the video? You guys can see how I'm like an orange and red color and everything around me is blue. So if you take me out of the photo, out of the picture, it kind of fluctuates. So the video cameraman, which is going to be you, needs to be pretty steady. And you're going to hold it horizontal all night long. And really what you're looking for are those blue spots that are moving. So there are crosshairs you'll see, and you'll start to study this as you move along. It doesn't actually see depth, it only sees temperature. So if something is too far away, it's going to automatically turn it black, which is going to be ice cold, because it doesn't know what it is. So when you guys are watching your video in the morning, you may hear a commentary between me and Drennon about what he's looking for, what he's already spotted, and that way I can actually go back and give markers like, hey, look at 15 minutes and 12 seconds, we spotted this little blue thing moving. It'll also put white lines around things that it thinks are objects. So if something is moving across and it's a blue form, then it's going to put a white line around it because it recognizes it as something intelligent or something solid. So again, it's already recording. If you see the red square on there, that means it's recording. If it turns to a circle, tap it again, I'll splice your videos together. Okay. So you literally are going to be a cameraman all night long just like this.
I got it.
Good luck, Darren.
So I do have several spirit boxes, but the one we're going to use actually records. So a spirit box actually allows us to communicate with those that are already passed. So what it does is it takes radio frequencies and it flips through them very fast. So what we're listening for are those radio DJs, the commercials, the song lyrics that are going to come through in between those very fast static pieces. In the event you hear one, it's okay if you don't let us know because it's recording the entire session for us no matter what the volume is in real time. So I'm going to actually turn it on so you guys can get a gist of what it sounds like and set it up to record. And I'll kind of like, the first place that we go to is kind of a teach and train anyway. It's really a place for you guys to actually start using your gadgets. It is haunted, there's no crazy history there, so it's really a brief, like here's where we are, let's get going, let me tell you what to do with all of your gadgets. So I'm going to hand this off to you. Yeah, so I'm going to play it for everybody because it's already flipping through. So literally anything you hear out of that you can actually make out, I want you to kind of remember it because there might be times where I'm separated from you and let me know what they are. Up here there's a turnstile. That just turns the volume up and turns it down. So obviously when I'm telling stories and kind of going through things, keep it down, and then when I say spirit box up, let's get it turned up, and that way you can start asking the questions that you'll go through. Now what's nice about this, even though the volume is on mute right now, it's still recording at a nice even level for us to hear. So even though we can't hear it in real time in the recording, because this place is haunted, something comes through, we'll actually have that recording. Is that fair? Alright, so where else? So this is a very simple point-and-shoot camera. Most kids don't know what these are, so I'm going to hand it off to you because you did carry your purse with you as well. There is no flash on this. We don't want flash because I don't want false positives. If she takes a picture of a building and it flashes against the window, I now have to analyze that beam of light from the flash, and it's redundant. So we do keep it at the settings that it's at. It's a simple point-and-shoot. On and off, take a picture. When you're taking a picture, because there is no flash, you need to be as still as possible. So that one is up to you, and you guys will have all those pictures.
So this is on and off, and what you want me to push this button?
Yeah, that's to take pictures.
What about this red button?
That's to record a video. We don't want any video.
Okay,
we got
so
video.
just take it here and tell me
Not necessarily. So the first place I'll say, go ahead and take pictures over here, or I might say, there's too many cars, because people get weird about the cars. So I'll kind of point out some spots. I do point out relevant spots where I've gotten places with good pictures in the past. So yes, I will point out most of them, but other times, feel free. The rule of thumb is none of y'all can be in the picture, because none of y'all signed waivers, and I'm not going through all that paperwork. I can be as many pictures as you want. If somebody does end up in a picture and there is actually paranormal activity in there, I will edit that person out as much as I possibly can.
By the way.
Doesn't matter. It's legal. So, all right, where were we? Now, it's not dark yet, but these tools will be very relevant when it gets dark. They are lasers. I normally joke that this is the neuralizer for Men in Black, and nobody will remember anything when we're done.
Great.
But what it'll do, you can see the green dots. they will get much brighter as the night moves on. So what we're looking for, if you watch my hand, because it's still light outside, see how it kind of flashes real quick? This helps us see things that we can't see with the naked eye, basically. So there's tool number one. The other one that you get is the grid box. So the grid does the exact same thing, only it's red squares. If you can see them, they're pretty faint because it's still light out. So what we're looking for here is, in the event he actually captures some pictures while you're going through it, I can put that image inside of 3D software, and then we have a full apparition, and I can get it from all angles, so we can actually see everything. This one has a toggle on and off. That one you actually have to hold the button. It will burn up after about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. So you just kind of, and I'll show you how to use those even further when we're moving along. Well, that's only because you carried your purse. All right, so we have 2 people without something still?
1 person.
1? Oh, okay. All right, cool. That actually worked out great. So we should all recognize one of these guys right by now, right? So the crazy thing about this when you're doing an investigation is it's only going to measure where that red dot touches. So right now it says the ground is 90.1. It doesn't tell me about the air in between. So what this will do, let's say DRENNON is standing where I am and he shoots the wall and he says, hey Nick, there's a blue spot right in the middle of the wall. I'm going to shoot the wall all the way across and make sure it's the same temperature all the way across. If it is, I now know that that cold spot is between DRENNON and the wall. Does that make sense? So that's where this guy comes into play. This helps us debunk where things are at. So this is an ambient thermometer. Don't mind my little duct tape and work at the top. Somebody broke the tip, so I had to kind of rig it up. So it does measure humidity and temperature. So the bottom number is temperature. This is kind of a debunking tool. You won't always need this, but it's when we do have to debunk something, I need it handy. So you're in charge of temperature. Again, this is a laser. It does go very far. I will say when we are on East Bay Street and some of the other busier areas, lasers are pretty much a no-go, and I'll give you that heads up ahead of time. So, guys, we start here on purpose. Any questions so far? Yes. Object for a solid surface. Okay. That makes sense now? Yeah. Okay. Alright, so, and we're going to run an experiment with that at the end. Yes. What's that? Why does it change? Probably because the building that you're sitting on is haunted. What's it doing? It's gonna go crazy, especially near that window. So, this place used to be called Big John's. Big John was a football player for the 1947 Giants. He's from Charleston. I don't know where he's buried, but this was named after him. He used to sit in the back of the bar and let the bartender know if the cadets in the Citadel were of age or not. When they weren't, he would cut them off. Very simple. One night, we made 2 guys mad. The cadets came in. They weren't of age. John told the bartender. They left mad. They come back the next night and they steal the cash register from the front of the building. John pulls out his gun, shoots one, takes it out. So he kills one of the 2 cadets. The bullet hole is still in the front of the building. Anybody that is sitting in the front of the bar normally gets a little dizzy, not feeling well, just those kind of weird feelings from so much paranormal activity. The only place I've ever actually gotten EMF out of this building, and I've been in here several times, and it was Paul's King Rum Bar, is right inside that window. Now, the interesting thing about tonight is today is John Kennedy's birthday, September 5th. So super excited to actually have 2 tours so I can tell that story and hopefully gather enough evidence between this place and the next to kind of prove that John kind of follows us around at least for a little while.
John Kennedy was the person who was shot?
John Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Yeah, like John Candy with an extra syllable.
Yeah, Kennedy.
Like Canna-D. So,
and he was the one who was shot, right?
No, he's the one who did the killing.
Okay.
So he was sitting in the back of the bar, shot the guy, and he died. So the other story that goes here is the mantle above your heads. We had a big earthquake here in 1886. So this was where the first death occurred because the mantling in the front of the building actually cracked off due to the earthquake, struck somebody in the head and killed them. His ghost is said to have been seen several times on East Bay Street. I haven't had any evidence of that, but it's a nice little story to tell and give you a little bit of history because really in Charleston we've only had 1 major earthquake in 1886. It was like a 7 point something on the Richter. So, keep in mind that thermal imaging cannot see through windows.
The emissivity too.
What's that?
The emissivity on the window is not right, right?
Right, so there's something about glass. It actually looks at it as an object. So when you're shooting buildings, you're not going to be able to see through it and say, hey, there's a ghost in there. The only thing you're going to be able to see is that if a ghost is influencing the temperature of that pane of glass.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to see like a blue window, because it's going to be colder than the rest of the building, kind of slowly turn black somewhere. Whether it's in a corner, in the center, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for one window to do that, not four or so forth and so on. We're literally looking for one to do that. And if I find it, I will point it out. It's happened in the past. So, let's see. I tell you guys these stories about Big John's, and start here on purpose. You know how paranormal activity is. I don't anybody here is not feeling well, dizzy, even if it's like want to be happy. So, if he's not feeling well, I'm expecting you to speak up. I've had people pass out due to too much activity. No, it wasn't because of the heat. I've had witches not do well. Too much activity. They couldn't handle it all. You do get quite a bit. It's a Saturday night. I'll be honest, Saturday nights sometimes are a little slower because it's still hustle and bustle down there. This year it's not like it. Top it all off, guys. I'm going to use a couple things for myself. Keep me active in your game. Not a game. Real life game. But I do keep a backup EMF in case Reagan's batteries do drain. So, and that's happened before too. I do use a spirit box that will give us a full word list. So in the center of the screen, it will actually give me a word every few minutes or so. The cool thing about it is it will save it to a list. This is last night's tour. It has 67 terms. We're going to clear it off for you guys, and that way it's going to start all over again. Now, I will tell you that 80% of that means absolutely nothing. It's the 20% that actually is relatable to either one of you, me, the tour, or the location. So that's kind of what happens. A lot of the stuff that comes through here, I'll tell you right off the top, it's going to mean anything. It's using the same type of radio frequencies as you. It's just, I have it down on you. I use one more spirit box, and it's a reverse spirit box. So again, FM frequencies, and what it'll do is it'll take those FM frequencies and spin them backwards. I don't know how the technology works, but it's super cool. Why? Because when something comes through in forward motion, we know what it is. And you'll have it on your audio. That's why we're the audio. So I'm going to actually turn it up, and hopefully the traffic will slow down a little bit so y'all can hear it. It is kind of faint. It sounds like complete gibberish. So when it does come through forwards, you'll know exactly what it is. Yeah. So when I get a full answer to a question I've been asking for several minutes, it makes complete sense. So, you guys ready to go something?
Yes, sir.
I know. I talk a lot, right? That's my job.
That's right.
Look at all the gadgets stuff.
Well, the thing is I don't get excited when one gadget goes off. I get excited when I look at this as a collective in the morning, and I have 2 or 3 levels of evidence around the same time frame. So that kind of gives us a little bit of what's actually happening. And the cool thing is I can run both my spirit boxes at the same time. So it really kind of adds to your whole tour. So let's go take a walk this way.
Okay.
You're in freaking like this?
It's going to be a busy night. Even just walking up there, I can see how busy it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's packed.
Alright, so a couple things right here. The Crew Cafe is haunted. They've asked me to do a full investigation. Hopefully I can get to that soon. Thank you, COVID, for interrupting everybody's lives. So I did get some EMF upstairs. I could probably debunk it by some weird wiring in the walls, but I definitely want to look into it further. The problem with the Crew Cafe is I always like to get the history of the location afterwards. I don't like to go in with pre-suggestions, but they tell me that there was a suicide that happened there and that it used to be a slave home. Slave homes didn't have addresses. You know how hard it is to find a title and a deed on a slave home? And I know looking at the place, you're like, Nick, there's no way that was a slave home. It's obviously expanded up and out. So at the same token, it's like ridiculous to try to find anything. I spent a full week worth of researching time that I normally take out on just that. Couldn't find anything. Also down there by the stop sign. So I want everybody to kind of picture the Charleston Peninsula real quick, you know, where you're at. It was much thinner because the outer layers of the peninsula were, they're all man-made. So piers, wharfs, those kind of things. Revolutionary War, a ship rolls up and shoots a cannon, and the cannonball lands right there at the stop sign. No deaths, no tragedies, just two history buffs. We're talking like what, 1760s, 1770s, but they found pieces of the cannonball. Pretty cool piece of history. Where you're standing is the barn lot where they actually hold the horses for the carriage rides. This is also the same red barn where they held the horses that delivered milk to Charleston. So if that kind of dates it for you, talking 1860s to 1920s, so it's been here quite a while. The horses are still in there. So we're going to do everything we can to not spook them. There are no pictures here because these are employees' cars. There's a bulldog in the red barn lot. Lasers, anybody with a laser, please do not shoot lasers in any of the windows of the barn. So temperature, infrared thermometer, careful, the red dot does not go in there. You will prove them with that one dot. With yours, obviously keep them down. Scare boxes, this is a great place. So I get somebody new here almost every night. Sometimes I get teammates from Big John. It's just a matter of who decides they want to come through. This is a chance for you to kind of play with your gadgets. Reagan, is your gadget doing anything? So this is completely random in this lot. It's never the same area. Sometimes it starts going crazy over here. So now it wants to start. So, but sometimes it'll wait until we leave. And it says, hey, wait, don't go. And that's when I got to stop everything and kind of see where we're at with
Is
things.
that going crazy? It's going to the yellow.
I'm watching it. I'm waiting to see if there's a rhythm to it, because I don't see one.
I did for a while there.
But yeah, and there's, underneath us, if you look around, there's no wiring, there's no crazy anything. Underneath us is a sewer. So there's really no reason why that needs to be going crazy. So I want nice slow speeds. Your laser band, again, trips from low. So usually you have to shoot things out. Next side by side, you don't always across the screen. I know that goes up to good. But yeah, side by side, it's shooting the speed away. But really what you're looking for is glimmers, and I'll pick up with you. You want to definitely listen to your steer box here. Now, with your steer box and any piece of audio, because Brennan, your camera is recording audio as well. You can ask questions, but don't just ask question after question after question. You want to ask things that are not yes or no's, and you want to ask the same question if you don't have an answer once every 20 to 30 seconds for about 2 minutes. If you don't get an answer, move on to another question. Look for questions that you may know the answer to. What color is the barn? What's the size of the barn? What street is it? Right here. So this is easy to catch.
What year is it?
Possible. What year are they
Is it your
from?
birthday?
Yeah. Well, that's the yes or no question.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Are you selling?
so it is Big John. You can ask what team Big John played for. I'll tell you that. If you know that answer, it was the Giants. So I'm giving you answers now. In the next place that we go to, I won't give you answers because this is a weird spot. So you can do the same thing with yours. That way, because you're not going to be able to hear the answers, but if you're asking questions and we catch an EVP on that, that's awesome. We'll hear it's marked.
Okay.
So let's kind of explore a little bit. Yeah, you can turn the volume up, Mom, if you want to help her listen to it, just kind of see what's going on. Get me a base temperature read on just about everything except for those holes on the red bar. Nothing everywhere.
What's your picture? And do you have any pictures here?
So really, like right now, the ground temperature is about 90 to 93 degrees. If it starts dipping down to 85 or below that, I want to know about it. So it's about a 5 to 8 degree difference. If you something dip below 80 degrees, you have something going on. We need to check.
She's getting a rhythm now.
So she's already getting something. And I got the word volunteer, which is interesting. So that's what the words will look like as they come up. So they can kind of get a different. No, not at this point. Like I said, too many cars in here. People get moved. So she's got a little bit of craziness going on. So I'm going to hang out with her. Why don't the two of you kind of go explore, just stay within the lot, get me a nice slow sweep all the way around.
Okay.
What color is my shirt? Supposed to show if something goes in front of it.
Huh.
Supposed to show if something goes in front of it that you can't see with your eye. Isn't that right, Big John?
That's good. How did you get the fish with that?
Huh?
Pretty easy to use, but
Yeah, I use them at work at times
Oh.
doing electrical panels and stuff like
oh,
that.
perfect. So you know exactly what you're looking for.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
you could have shut me up earlier, but
Well, I'm not going to do that, no.
they still kind of need the explanation too, so that way they know what to watch
That's
for.
right, that's right.
So
I'm just getting you a real good, clear picture around.
we got a good hot spot over here. Kind of point the camera this way. Right. So this is the craziness that I'm looking for right here. So literally, if something's here and they're gonna pass by us. Are you getting any weird temperature changes? Watch the
Yeah, 90,
Oh, perfect.
94 to 99 right there.
Still kind of dim right now, but if you're taking pictures, trying to go through the grid, so in case you do capture something, we'll actually capture it up here. I know you're getting all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm good. I don't care if I'm in the picture. I'm in the video all the time.
All down the center is 99. Everything else is like 96, 97. So not that bad.
Figure it out. Like, is that your job? You got your thoughts? So underneath here, buddy, is the sewer line.
Okay, so that's why then. Yeah, all down the center is like 100. Everything else like 96, 97.
Your middle name's not Jason, is it?
Huh?
Your middle name isn't Jason, is it?
No. Got a cousin named Jason, but
Past?
no.
Yeah. Not worried about it.
I hope not.
I got Jason. So I asked him if his middle name was Jason. He said
Oh.
no. The only
That would be
male
so
here.
cool though.
It happens.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
It happens all the time. I said when I said before with something where they were you guys, that it happens. That's why I bring it up. A lot of times with the best board, that they're having a personal experience. What I do ask is if you don't come to the store with a personal vendor, don't come here. I've had people asking for their loved ones.
Yeah.
Like, if you come here just to take advantage of my tools, or did you want to come and actually learn some history about Charleston?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I call them out.
Yeah.
I'm not
Don't
afraid.
blame me.
It's like, I got a job to do here.
Yeah.
Going all
I'll
the way
blame
red now.
Yeah, she's been red for quite a few minutes. So, again, with it being somewhat light out, we should, if there was going to be something here, there, we'd be able to see it pretty prominent because it's still, daylight.
I will say around her, she has something to do with, she has seen stuff.
You're tracking?
Yes.
I mean, not necessarily that I like to, but I think I do.
Fair enough.
I've got
I don't wanna ask
I've
for
got
it.
orbs around with in some pictures with her and stuff like that. So
I've
pretty
seen
awesome.
my grandmother that passed away. She came back to me. So,
What's her name?
well, her name was Erlene.
Okay. I'm just checking the weather just because I felt some drops real quick. So let me just...
Yeah, I had my dad after he passed away. I could feel like heat, like he was right on my shoulders when I get to the house. And then there was like this mist outside that was going very slowly on the opposite side of the collector
Yeah.
area. And a couple times I felt the heat. And it was funny because he was leaving with dad right there in the 17th. And I guess what, the 15th of July, 2000. And I spent
John, do you know Jason? John, what kind of shirt were you wearing the night you died? What kind of pistol did you shoot him with? Did he deserve it? Did he deserve it, John? What caliber pistol did you shoot him with, John? Is anybody else out there? If you are, tell me your name. Who's out there? Tell me your name. Okay.
It's starting to get dark, so let's go have some history. Everybody get the chance to know how those capture something, this is going to help us with one trailer. So you can actually pocket that for now if you want to. If you want to, because it's not always a common tool to leave right. Alright, let's go take a walk. Come on. The laser would measure the temperature.
So, this and those clear lasers up there. So the way they work is the reflectivity off of whatever object it's pointing towards is what it does a conversion, what gives it the temperature back. So it's not that it's seeing temperature, the reflectivity is what it's doing. Now the other little thing that she has with the little, that's the air in,
Yeah.
that gives you actual temperature.
Or the yellow thing.
Yeah.
It is red? Oh, it's going crazy.
Come on. Yeah, it's going to. This is a hot spot. Alright, so, guys, I know I said we're not going to do parking lots all night. I promise. So this one in particular is very important to the city of Charleston. Go ahead and turn that down. So this particular lot is the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion site. So you see the name, yeah, it's going to go crazy. The Pinckneys you're going to see all over town as you're going around everywhere. So Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles and they had a nephew named Charles. So there's three Charleses. The son and the nephew were signers of our Constitution. A little bit of history there. The father was some big prominent something brother around Charleston. I hate politics, I don't get into it. So Eliza is what's important here. Eliza married Charles because her father thought he was dying and wanted her home, and she said no. So she got married, so she had to stay here. In the event of Dad getting better, in the events, Dad started sending her gifts. The layout of this lot was a mansion in the front. Eliza's garden was over corner here, also the businesswoman that sold the crop, indigo, overseas. Businesswomen in the 1700s, unheard of. So that's a very big deal. So
What
here,
they put something in the indigo, like here in Maryland or something like that?
I honestly couldn't tell you, but I know that they had to move it from here over to their plantation inland in Mount Pleasant. So that would have been over on Slee Farm, I believe. So if you go to Mount Pleasant, it's Slee Farm. Couple things about Eliza you can ask on your spirit box and your audio. I'm definitely going to test out your grids, but keep them below the wall. But Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. So you need to find out what her maiden name was, because that's what she goes by. Eliza blank Pinkney. Yeah. That thing's going to go red throughout here. This place is actually going to let me down twice. I walked through here and got no activity, including the EMF. If you kind of take a look to see how the EMF's going crazy, I walked in here and it was all green. So it kind of proves to me like this place is legitimately haunted by an intelligent spirit. She will respond back. So you can find out what happened to the house. You can ask what happened to the house. That's another question. They had 4 kids. One of them was a daughter. Find out what the daughter's name was. Find out how she died, where she died, how old she was, where she buried. Things that aren't yeses or nos. It is a parking lot. People will be coming in and out. So absolutely no pictures from here. No blank spot. Although there could be a lot of right after the huge out of the door. And that'll be in your evidence file. So if you want to your file, right next to the evidence file on Facebook, on that very interesting. So we want a nice full sweep from you. Nice slow walk around. You're going to learn a lot about thermal here, especially since you use it at work. Grids we already talked about, no pictures. You have temperatures. You want to keep that laser pretty low. We don't want to shoot the buildings around the lot. So kind of keep it on the ground, shoot some of the cars. That's interesting. Ladybugs are a silent plot. So I would tell you on your audio when I walk away from you guys, I will be asking questions as well that are still on the audio. And some of those things might come up after the box or during the audio. I might not get to hear them. Good to know too, right?
Yeah. If she suggests any activity,
Yes. Well, again, when she does, because this is a good hot spot for the ladies as well. You should be taking several pictures of her ladies to try to capture something. Even if she says she saw something, it's going to be so brief, you literally have to catch that photo. Because it's not going to stay there for very long. It's going to be a split second, literally. So, again, let's just be mindful of the people walking through here. You know, the first coming. You, young lady, it's going to go crazy no matter what. Is my light blinking? Alright, so everybody kind of see that weird fading light over there? It will usually go in sync with the EMF meter. So, Reagan, go ahead and hold that thing up just like this so everybody can see. Nope, hold it like you're going to take a picture of yourself with yourself. Let's go this way. So, if everybody kind of takes a look, it normally will pulse with the pulses of that light. If it's blinking. It's not always blinking. And guys, there's no shelter for us to run to, so we may get a little wet. For you, please keep the phone
I'll
covered.
put it in my pocket.
There you go. That's going to go crazy. I don't need to know every time here because I just needed to know when they first walked in. Alright, let's kind of do a little bit. We're going to spend about 5 to 10 minutes here. Okay. Run by 10 seconds, start squirts.
Eliza, what is your maiden name?
Yeah.
Eliza, what happened to Garden? This is their beautiful garden.
No noise.
Eliza, where are you from? Tell me where your baby's buried, Eliza. Eliza, show yourself to me. That was my finger.
Questions, she said it blew up like super quick. So tonight, I asked what happened, and I'm waiting for the word fire. I'll give you that answer. I'm waiting for the word fire. Did you hear anything? You heard what? Help me find. Okay. That's a good term. We'll take it. Oh, okay. And then she's gonna help me find. Probably doesn't know what happened.
Show yourself, Eliza.
The house caught on fire right above me, second floor, which is where it would have been. There are pictures of it online, you can check it out. But when she told this for the second time, she literally said the words, "it blew up." So I will mark that for you in your body. Yeah, I was. Yeah, and I've tried to do that before. I have had the term candle come up once, but I don't think that was an illegitimate answer. So it was relevant, and it could have been what they thought it was, but there were so many fires throughout Charleston's history, there's no way there was a candle fire that just started this blaze. Because, I mean, it took down a good portion of the house. And I don't think it carried over anywhere, but it did take this big chunk of the top second story room, or whatever it's above the employee bedroom, and then a good portion of the bare wall that they had.
Are you in the church, Eliza?
This is a wall that a restaurant that was here. Called Bob's Arches, and it wasn't at the restaurant in there. The address was wrong for a life. So whoever saw it.
Let me tell your story.
I want to say it's like 1763. I can look up exactly here to be certain. Yep, around in that late, mid to late 1700s.
Eliza, why are you still here?
Well, Eliza's still here. This is her home. A lot of times she'll tell us that if somebody does ask that question. And it's a good question. It's not a yes or no. Eliza, why are you still here? But this is an intelligent series. She's already said my name twice. She normally does say my name. It's kind of like a recognition. Go back and forth. Go back to listen to the previous chorus. Eliza, how you doing? How are you feeling?
I don't trust my own ears, never mind.
Very good. I was waiting for doing well because of the time period. Heard smoke. So rewind by 5 seconds. You'll hear that on your audio where I say rewind by 5 seconds, so that way you can validate what I just heard.
Me and his auditory processing disorder is one I'm just telling you, she can hear. She's used to it, but she hears all sounds at the same level all the time. Like you talking, or a car going by, or a fan.
So that was really truly the wrong person.
The fan
I'm sorry for not speaking up about it.
are all at the same volume. So she might
She may have. Grant, how did you do on your camera?
I don't see nothing. I've scanned 2 or 3 times.
Okay. So I'll
Around
kind
slow.
of review it and see what's going on. I do want to move us to the next spot. It's about 4 blocks away. It is definitely a masked area. But we're going to be going to Lodge Alley. If it starts raining any heavier, where we're actually going to feel like we're wet. Of course, to me it feels wonderful right now carrying this bag around. You guys have probably been out and about all day, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it probably feels good to you too.
Where y'all
Right where we're
from?
standing. Right here in the
Mississippi.
front.
Like,
Mississippi.
like it? Like the trip here?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
This would have been like
That's
for
like a
living
time.
room, right here.
We're from here and we moved to Florida. We're
Standing
moving
in
back.
And
Really?
then the steps into the house,
Yeah,
there's been a
super
hallway that
downside.
all the different
I
rooms.
love it.
Yeah. No, it's not here.
So where we're going on the main street of East Bay, that's going to go crazy, but doesn't mean anything. They must put on some parking meters on the ground. We're going to debunk that right now. Lasers, obviously a no-go with all the vehicles. Trying to keep filming.
You know where
You
we're
want
living,
to listen?
Eliza?
By all means, keep listening. What's that?
I was saying, that's the question. You know where we're living?
And a lot of times, like if I've had activity, I'll ask her to say goodbye, just to kind of close it off. So Eliza, I'm going to move the group on, and I will be back in about an hour or so, maybe 2. Can you say goodbye or good night? Eliza, can you tell us good night?
Well, I was assuming where your baby was buried.
Alright guys. Our favorite flower, actually, in that stuff. Wasn't even. It was. But, no, something similar to that. Hydrangeas are pretty. They got a big blossom.
I'm thinking of another one of bushy, but I can't think of the name of it. What's up, everybody? What is it?
Oh, you're gonna be
Come on, Reagan. You stand by the wall, remember? Everybody stand by the wall. So where are you staying at? Your aunt's?
We stayed at Francis Marion last night and we're staying in Mount Pleasant tonight. Yeah, we're.
I got it red now, we're good. you guys drive down here, or did you?
We drove.
Okay. Well, down here, a lot of people would just Uber everywhere.
Yeah. Well, we would have, but we were already down here anyway, so we just drove.
Because we started a little late, kind of cut big nasty place. When we get to the alley, we're gonna let Dee catch up to us. That way she can take pictures of the alley with nobody in it.
Okay.
Because I do get some weird light anomalies there all the time.
Yeah.
So I always like to make sure I get at least one way and one the other.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That smells decent.
It does. You want to try there first?
Still see anybody? She's flagging me out. I'll wait a few minutes because we're gonna turn right there in the alley, and I've lost people there in the past. I just want to make sure I don't lose her. We're gonna have you come up here because we're gonna make a right turn down this alley, and as long as there's nobody down there, I want a picture of it ahead of time.
Smells really good.
So we're gonna walk past this door down in the car.
They're these walking, gnarly hunks of flesh with blue veins knotted all over this. Disgusting. So, in order to run around the city not recognized, they've got to borrow our skin on the street. So what they do is they go into our bedroom, like a spirit hole, get into a keyhole under the bedroom door.
Guys, just stand. Let's go ahead and get it in case another tour wants to come by. I usually line you guys up along the wall. Yeah, Dee, grab 2 pictures of that for me. The reason why I asked for 2 is so that way I have something to compare it to. So if I see a light anomaly, I have something else to make sure that it wasn't. I only wanted it in one picture, not both. So this is Lodge Alley, guys, one of the oldest streets in Charleston. Yes, when I say streets, that means people used to live here. So this was a street where the low-income type families would actually live. And I have a full list of residents of the people that lived here. So did you hear any names on the spirit box on the way here? Who has it now?
No, but I did record.
Perpetrator? Interesting. And the reason why I say that that's interesting is because in this particular, is it this alley? That there's a police report of 2 women going at it, and there was a perpetrator of somebody, like only one of them got jailed. So I'll have to look for that and see if that's actually in this alley or the next one. But this particular alley is super interesting because they've done the archaeological digs in between the bricks. They found their silverware, some of their tools, little pieces of their clothing. So that's how they're able to determine what kind of income they had. Also, keep in mind, the water's that way. Again, remember, skinnier Charleston then, where the water would have been much closer. So the stench down here probably would have been pretty nasty coming in from all the fishermen at sea. But I also have the occupations of the people that used to live here too. So that makes things interesting. I do get one gentleman in particular that shows up maybe once a week. And I was waiting for you to tell me a name of Benjamin or Ben. He actually came through twice last name with the name Ben. But he'll come up on my spirit box with the full name of Benjamin. Very interesting. This is also where the Masons used to meet. So on a hot, sticky night like this, they would be down here in their suits talking business. Kind of how it went back in the 1800s. So the building behind me is the Lodge Alley Inn. It claims to have its own hauntings. Of course, every hotel in Charleston has its own hauntings. Myths, legends, lore. I don't normally go into a whole lot of that kind of thing because I don't have any valid proof. Some people say that they see evil apparitions, cold spots, those kind of things, but there's nothing that ties it to the history of Charleston because they don't know who it is. So until I can do a full investigation myself, I'm not going to prove it that way. So guys, we're going to actually go up the alley. I have caught shadow people on the left-hand side here, and that was on the thermal imaging camera. So just keep in mind, when we do reach the end of the alley, we are in somebody's neighborhood. Those are people's homes, so no lasers, absolutely no lasers. Once we get to the edge. Hey, how you doing?
How y'all doing?
And then we're going to kind of go straight. The D, once we leave and exit the alley, as long as those people are gone, let's get a picture going this way.
They're not at the stop for that water there, so that's...
What's that?
They ain't going inside on the people.
Oh, okay. Well, they're actually leaving, so you'll get a nice full view. And this isn't a very popular alley considering what it actually is.
Yeah.
So, it's just weird. But I don't think anybody else really knows how to get to that resident history. Like, I have the list of it from the Charleston Historical Society. So, it's pretty easy to find on my end because I'm a writer. I know how to research. Yes, ma'am. What's that? This is where somebody was taking pictures of this wall, and I captured a quick shadow that came out on the edge of the picture, and at the same time, staying on the video, as the picture, there was a full, like this wall was red, and there was an orange person standing right here like this. So the fact that it was orange, it's more of a yellowy type color, told me that it was definitely a different heat signature, that the crosshairs were down there on the wall. The time signature on the picture versus the camera tells me they were legit. So I should have just given you a nice point of reference of a different heat signature walking through the video.
Nick?
Yeah.
Jordan, tell her what... You want her to tell you when she hears words, right?
Yeah.
Tell her what it means.
What did you hear?
Oh, I heard the word
4 or 5. So it might be somebody counting how many people there are with us. I usually ask that question all the time. Oh, you're good. Not gonna bother me now. Get the words later. Can everybody see the flashlight?
What's yours, Jordan? Anything?
This is great. I mean, it's pulled down significantly, but I'm guessing that's because of the sun.
Well, tell him.
I think it's the sun.
Well, he has to tell you. Your measuring temperature in that ground. What's the temperature?
Right now it's 82.
It's hot in here.
So it's 82.
I think that's normal considering where we're at.
Yeah, but it's the humidity that's going to be higher. It makes it harder to read. So if you have the yellow gadget with you, the top number should probably be near 70, if not higher. 70, if not higher. 69. So I was right on target. I would say that's pretty accurate.
There you go, watch the burn.
Alright. Did you get some pictures going the opposite way? Now that it's empty?
Yeah.
The only pictures I'm going from really this way. Do you want me to go down there and take another one?
No, just take one from right where you're at. So that way I get the full alley. There we go. Alright, let's take it across the street. These are people's homes. They're watching TV right now. Getting ready for bed.
Those are awesome.
Get started with this story just because I tell it out here. It's actually at the alley where that we're about to walk through, but it is so popular. Come on in closer, girl. Come on in this way. So I tell it out here because it's so busy. We get interrupted all the time, and it literally can go for 10 to 15 minutes for a 4-minute story. So I do tell it out here. That is now Philadelphia Alley, which was once known as Duelers Alley. So taking duels, take 20 paces, turning 2 kind of duels. All tell one story, however, they make it a bigger deal than what it is. You have the guys that people in that story. That's the cool thing about it. You guys are going out of this stuff. So the story is very simple. There was a doctor. His name was Joseph Brown Ladd. He moved down here from Rhode Island. He was supposed to get married to his fiancee Amanda. She just inherited a bunch of money. Sorry, I was going to say she just got a bunch of money. She just inherited a bunch of money from her deceased parents. So she has this big giant inheritance. The lawyer said, no, you're not getting married yet. So he tells the doctor, go start your practice elsewhere, and then we'll talk about the two of you getting married. Prove to me you don't just want her money. So he comes down here to Charleston. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. He dropped him off in a bad neighborhood, and he would have been killed. Somebody walking by says, I don't want to stay here. This is not a very good place. His name is Ralph Hyder. His friend takes him over to 59 Church Street, where the doctor's now renting a room. It's about a mile and a half from here in a neighborhood. I think it's still used as a residence today. So the two became friends. However, the doctor was moving up in the hierarchy of Charleston. So they used to go see plays together, but had to sit in different seats. Ralph Isaacs was just an attorney here in Charleston, not a very big deal, but the doctor was. So they had to talk about the plays on the way home. One night, after seeing Richard III from Shakespeare, they're talking about one of the new actresses in town. Dr. Bugner, Ralph did not. It turned into an insult party on the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island. Not a very good way to end their friendship. So the two go separate ways. Ralph, being a Charlestonian, writes in the newspaper that he was a crazy doctor. Money from here. The doctor is also known as a whistling doctor. Using the whistling doctor, this is the story of it. How does the doctor rebuttal the newspaper about his experience in Charleston? Let's go to Duelers Alley and we're going to cut it. The doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He didn't want to kill his friend, he just wanted to make a point that what they were arguing about was stupid. He forgave his friend. However, Ralph Isaacs took 2 shots below the knees and the doctor dies. Now, the loser of a duel is normally what? Dead, right? So the loser would normally go through the gate over here on the right, straight to their grave over at St. Philip Cemetery. He was taking pictures. The doctor didn't die, so his friends picked him up. They took him to 59 Church Street, a mile and a half away, where he died 10 days later. So, with that being said, him being known as the whistling doctor, as we walk through the alley, it said you can hear the whistles. I caught it twice where I couldn't debunk it. It's going to be faint. If you're listening to the audio in the car, this is where you turn it up. You kind of listen for those whistles as we're walking by. You can listen to the spirit box in the room. Sorry, this is getting compatible. You have loose parts on me. Pictures, obviously, when there's no tours in there, I seen you taking pictures of the steeple, so thank you for that. Nice, clear pictures there. There's also I don't know if it's a motion light. It didn't go off last night in the middle of, I put the word monument, in the middle of the alley. Sometimes it'll go off. Yes, ma'am. there really is no bad guy. Yeah, it's a very touchy area. Ralph likes to come through them. I haven't really heard much from the doctor other than words about him. So I get like doctorate, medicine, those kind of things that his doctor is running all in one night. So Ralph will come through all in one night. The will come through, the initial will come through. There should also be RI or dialect for Ralph Isaac, but we never know what that's referring to. If the light down there doesn't always go off on the light, we're going to see what happens tonight. It just gives a quick one. For the year I've been doing this, it's only been doing it through the past 6 months. So, and it's random. We're going to see what happens. Also, at the very end of this, I will tell you, it is a residence. We have to move quickly. I will point it to the person behind me. But the bricks are going to get older. So, a little Charleston history. The bricks up here were replaced in the 1990s. Down there were original sun-dried by slave children. They literally had to turn those bricks every hour to dry them. They didn't have ovens yet. There are fingerprints and one full handprint out there. I will point out the handprint, some of the fingerprints. If you want to take some pictures of hand, you do have to move quick. We'll make a left out of the alley. So this is usually a masked up area. It is so popular, but I'm going to go down there. I won't have that. Like I said, I get about 5 minutes out of it before I'm like, nope, I'm good. Keep your spirit box low while we're going through another
Okay, let's go down so we can see actually. What about? It's cool.
And then there's the full handprint is right up here. Basket hot. I don't know how you guys are doing it.
Oh, the handprint about. That's not weird at all.
No, but honestly though, like.
What's that?
What's your name again?
Nick. That's where the slave children actually had to turn those bricks because they were still wet, like your Play-Doh, but it was like wet Play-Doh, and you have to wait for it to dry so it can make bricks. Does that make sense now?
Oh, so people got the handprint.
Yep, because when they moved it, it wasn't completely dry yet. So and that was probably a person your age that had to do that hard work in the heat to make sure that they dried. And and watch the bricks dry.
I will.
Second dog something. I didn't see a dog. I heard a dog. I was like, what?
Line you guys up around the corner. We got one more building to take a look at. We're away from Mom. How's she doing back there? You doing all right?
Yeah, there you are, Reagan. I have a
I'm
bad
keeping
back.
an
I
eye
have
on
a
her.
bad back, so it takes a little bit.
It's okay.
I understand.
She's got some really good questions, so it's okay. She's hanging out with me. All right, so we got one more building, and that's the building that's behind me, the big giant brick building. It actually goes all the way over to East Lake Street. The interesting thing about this building is not a lot of people talk about it either, so you guys are getting a bunch of stories you wouldn't actually hear on other tours. This is the Wagner building. It was part of our cotton industry. Hopefully we don't have too much traffic right now this green. But the last person who owned it as part of the cotton industry was George Ferrer. George inherited the business from his dad. He had no idea what he was doing. He got himself into a bunch of debt. We also have the boll weevil in town. So the boll weevil eats the cotton. So now he's really in trouble about his crop. He needs to get rid of it. So he sells all of it to the British. The British ship rolls up where Pineapple Party is now, and it's right across the street, about one more block past Wagner. And he is actually on the second story watching everything get loaded from these back doors that you see here. As it gets loaded, somebody gets too close to the cotton with a pipe, and the whole ship goes up in flames, and everybody dies. George watches everything from the second story. He's already in debt. He can't pay back all of it to his American debtors. His dad's legacy is now gone. And what's he do? He houses all the furniture, captain's chair on top, flies to the top, and then swings the noose and hangs it. They can capture shadow of the swinging corpse and get the tension. So I'm hoping with the thermal imaging camera we can see temperature changes. Because the other point of this building, usually when I'm looking into this building, where we came out of Philadelphia Alley was one block up with Zoe from Truman's Porch. Some of you may have heard of that. Truman's Porch is haunted by Zoe. That was her residence. She was an elementary school teacher. What happened to George? He told us. Because all of his dad's property went up in flames. He was already pretty mad about it. So Zoe fell down the stairs when she was living there. That's how she died. She was also French. Her last name was Saint Amand. Her name pops up on my spirit box quite often, and I know it's her because she spells her name C-O-E, not C-O-E-Y. So I've had it several times. I just never know who I'm getting. So that's what it's walking up there, but once we get up there, I'll start collecting gadgets. I'll need you to get a nice full sweep of the second story window to see if any kind of temperatures change. Pictures, again, second story all the way down. Everybody probably will go a little crazy up there because of the perking meters and thermometer. You have the infrared thermometer, right? So we're going to test something real quick while we're up there. With the thermometer. Sometimes we have 33 different at the very top of the building. The next stone down at the same height, about 5 feet below it. When that happens, I usually have to get a lot out of the spirit boxes. That way I know when to listen for it. So I'll show you when we get up there. The colder it gets, the more activity we're going to have. The bigger the gap. So sometimes if it's only 15 degrees, we might get a few words, but 30 degrees, I get a lot of activity. I don't know why. It's just a weird little trick that one of my guests started one night, and I've been doing it every night since. So we're actually going to cross legally. Because of the nice breeze that comes through there. It's not adjacent to the water. How we're getting a breeze now from the water. We don't get that because it runs through it. So we go twice. Zoe? Saint Amand.
What is this called?
Are we going in somewhere?
No.
Okay. No, I smell like fettuccine or something.
Yeah.
Alfredo. Brought up here.
I'm looking up. Please slow down. We're going really fast.
So, you see the stone at the very top of the building? See the lighter colored stone? It's tan. It's all brick up there, but that tan stone, do you see it?
I think I do.
It goes at the very top. Okay, go ahead and shoot the very top. Keep going right there. What temperature do you have right there? Okay, now go to the stone that looks like a little down, down, down. All right, keep going down. Right there. What do you got there? 70. So you're going to be a nice full sweep there.
Yes, sir.
Now, what's weird is just this past week they started leaving the second story lights on. So all the previous pictures have lights on. Yeah, now they're lights on. We ran a little bit late. I had to use bridge.
She has ideas that Crohn's.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I have a friend of mine that has Crohn's. I feel for you. I know what she goes through.
Yeah, everything hurts.
All right, let me take yours. I'm going to give you guys my card, and then in the morning, I will text those that actually